Welcome to the first ever JANDAs World podcast.
Thank you.
We are JANDA. I'm Jeremy. He's Adam.
Hello.
Together we are JANDA.
So J and A. I like it.
And
Did you just come up with that?
no, I think we've been discussing it for a little while. Well, let's tell them a little bit about who we are. So
Sure.
We've been selling on eBay for many years now.
Yeah.
You started selling on eBay a long time ago.
Yeah, it was around 99 or 2000, I believe.
So what kind of stuff were you selling in 1999?
It was anything that was around the house, including some of my sports jerseys that I had purchased and worn a bunch of times. I found that they had some value and listed them on eBay, and back then it was crazy because you just put them up on auction and then it would just be like a last minute who's gonna snipe whom, people going crazy to get my used clothing.
And how did people pay at the time? Because I don't think PayPal was around then.
That's right. You know what?
So
I
you had
hadn't
to, like,
thought
what,
of
you
that.
had to wait for a check to
I
come
waited for a check or a money transfer, not a money transfer, like a Western Union or MoneyGram. And then once I received that, I would have to cash it and potentially wait if it was a check until it cleared, and then weeks or months later, I would mail the item to the customer.
So I remember when I first started selling, it was our father bought a dental office, and he had all this extra dental equipment and supplies, and it looked like I thought it was all nonsense, and I would just put it up for auction, and like every single thing that I put up would be sold to all over the world. It was going. And I remember, like, the one thing I remember actually from doing that is going to the post office with the package and getting it weighed and finding all the different payments that I would have to make for that one package. Not payments, I mean like how much it would cost. So I would go with like two or three
and stuff like that.
Sometimes it depends on the value, but then I would have to take the package home with me and tell the people, this is how much it's going to cost.
Oh, right, because it wasn't online back then. So you didn't know when somebody wanted a shipping quote. You didn't know what it was going to be.
Right, so I'd have to go back and forth to get that shipping quote.
That's right. Oh, man.
And so I remember the first time that I went to a thrift store.
Yep, I remember this.
I found a hockey jersey. It was new with the tag in pristine condition because it was new, but it had some stitching on the back, some names.
I remember
it was like an
Bill
anniversary.
Bill and June's 50th anniversary with
Yeah.
the big number 50, like on the back of the hockey jersey.
Yeah, so, and I still bought it. I think it was like $5, which was like such a good deal for that type of jersey. But I bought it and I brought it home, and I didn't know what to do with it. I don't even know why I bought it. I don't think I bought it with the intention of reselling it, but I think I gave it to you.
You gave it to me and I had the intention of reselling
And
it.
you wanted to resell it, so you figured out how to remove those words, the names and the number.
It took me 2 hours of just sitting there plucking threads out of letters and numbers until I got all of them out, and then I ironed it so the outline of the numbers and letters weren't there anymore. And after that, it was like a couple $100 jersey.
So $5 into a couple $100, and a few hours of
work.
work.
And it's funny because now, we'll go to thrift stores with the intention of looking for things to buy and then resell. And we actually had done that together, sort of, because you bought it and brought it to me and I resold it from a thrift store. And this was way before we even knew that this was a thing.
Right.
And we didn't really catch on. And the thrift store was like 10 minutes from our house growing up. And we never even knew that this was going to be something we would do down the line. And we didn't think, hey, maybe there are other $200 jerseys out there somewhere that we can get for $5. Let's go find it. It's funny how things kind of happen, and it's funny what you forget or don't think about at the time.
That brings me to our next point about how we did get into it. So I think you came to me with this TV show and said, hey, I saw this. It was Thrift Hunters. With Jason T. Smith and
Brian Goodman.
Everything's
negotiable.
We started watching that show, and we both really liked it.
Yeah.
And that's when we were like, okay, let's go to the thrift store and go find something to resell.
I remember when I asked you, knowing that you would watch the show, but I also know my brother really well. And when I asked him if he wanted to go and he said yes, I was shocked because it's not something that typically I like thinking back of what we've done together.
You're right. You're right. And I remember even just before we started watching that show, you actually, because you've always been into the whole buy low, sell high philosophy. So you purchased something from China, like a private label jewelry item, a few of them actually, and you wanted me to join in with you to sell on eBay.
Yep.
And I was like, no thanks, not interested.
Yep.
So yeah, it didn't really seem like something that I would eventually be interested in, but I actually really liked Jason T. Smith and Brian Goodman. Like, they were entertaining, and what they were doing was kind of, it looked like fun.
It looked like a lot of
just
like
going
a treasure hunt.
The treasure hunt. That was what was fun. And I remember the first time we started going to the thrift stores ourselves, we were buying like one item.
It was awful.
We couldn't find anything. We didn't know what to buy. No. I would go there and I would call you and I would say, hey, do you think Dad would like this type of item? Because I was too embarrassed to let people know, look this up on eBay. And you'd tell me, yeah, I think that would sell. So we would buy the 1 to 2 items. But eventually that 1 to 2 items turned into, 50 plus items as we got better and better. And we were selling a lot.
My first, I think, solo trip to the thrift store, I ended up getting literally one item. I brought one item back, and it stunk of cigarette smoke, and I didn't realize it until I got home, and I was so mad at myself. I paid $2.99 for it, so it's not like I made a huge investment other than my time to buy this one item.
Yeah, it probably took like an hour.
It took an hour
for one item,
and then not to mention driving around the city.
Yeah.
And then I washed it and got the cigarette smoke out, and then put it up on eBay, and then it just sat for months on end until it finally sold. But yeah, we've come so far considering, we went from 1 to 2 items, and now we're at, like you said, 50 plus, and we still fight the same. Like, we fought that first time about what we should buy. I remember like seeing a hat that you were standing right beside that first time, and I'm like, why haven't you picked this up? And you're like, I don't know. What are you talking about? And now it's our fights are a little different. We're like, it's like, why did you pick this up? Like, look at it. Wait, you didn't see this like massive hole on the back, Adam? Why haven't you? And so Jeremy's the younger brother, and he yells at his older brother, like the roles are reversed a little bit. And our mom sees it, and she jokes around about how he just yells at me constantly.
I'm always yelling whenever I'm shooting something that you picked up. And I know it's not your fault, because when you do put anything under these bright lights, like, you're going to see everything.
The photography lights, yeah.
And
see every flaw.
The photography lights. And you can't see it in the store. It's really difficult to see it in the store.
And like you said, we're buying 50 plus items. So to take the time to look over each one, like, sometimes you try to look them over, and sometimes you don't see a hole under the armpit or something like that.
Right. I would still recommend that anyone who's just starting really try to inspect the item as much as you can, because even though it does have a stain or it does have a hole here and there, it'll still sell. It'll just take a little bit longer, and you're going to get less for it. So whenever you can avoid buying defective items, I would definitely avoid it.
Yeah, and that goes without saying for me too.
So I think that gives a good background on who we are
and how we got into this racket,
and how we are now absolutely obsessed with selling on eBay, and it's pretty much all we talk about all day long.
Yeah, I mean, I have been obsessed, to be fair, for like almost 20 years.
Right? Yeah, you've definitely been doing this a lot longer than I have, but now that I'm doing it on a full-time basis, I can't get it off my mind ever, and I love it. So
that's cool. So you're, just for the anybody listening out there, so Jeremy has been full-time since...
It's about 1.5 years now.
Yeah, I was going to say since 2 Augusts ago, or one August ago?
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's about 1.5 years, let's say.
And I still have this, Jeremy and I are partners, but I have this as my side hustle. But we can talk about that another time. But yeah, it's just interesting to see somebody transition from side hustle into full time, and me being on the sidelines, and like our passion and obsession with this stuff is as strong as it was when we started doing this. At least the reselling, not the whole eBay thing, but you know, literally we talk about this day and night.
Okay, so let's talk about some things that we sold recently.
What, like in the last like couple weeks?
Yeah, these are probably from the last couple of weeks. So I'll let you start with this one because this is sort of interesting the way you found this item.
Yeah, we were at the local Sally Army.
Or Salvos, as
Salvo, yeah.
our Rally Roots friends like to say.
And we were just kind of walking around getting ready to leave, and I saw a copy of Xbox One Just Dance 2018 just kind of sitting there. Oh, what do we got? Hold on.
No. Don't worry.
I get excited when I hear that noise. I don't get excited when I see that price. So we were kind of walking around getting ready to leave, and I saw this copy of the game just sitting out.
Yeah, it was just sitting there. It was not even close to... I don't even know where their video game section was.
Literally the other side of the
So this is just like... It was like on a table at the back of the store.
Where they keep all the furniture and stuff.
Yeah.
Just sitting on one of the pieces
So
of
we
furniture.
got this. We picked it up for about $3.
$2.99, yep.
And sold it for $45 to someone in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. So we'll see if we...
It was a lot of shipping there, but $45 someone paid.
And it's weird for us to see, especially where we shop, to see games that are that current.
Right. We rarely will come across current games.
Yeah.
Okay, so another item we had was it's a handheld video game, a Donkey Kong one.
Vintage.
You bought this so long ago, and it was just sitting around. Honestly, I didn't know what this was. Like, you bought it. I don't know if you looked it up, but I didn't know what it was. Eventually, you came and you saw it, and you're like, "Why is this not listed? Why is this still here?"
Yeah.
And you looked into it, found out, okay, we need some batteries, bought some batteries, game works, let's list it. Sold within a week for, I think we got $70 for it.
70 plus ship, though?
I don't remember.
Okay. We included some free batteries.
We gave some free batteries, but that was just an interesting example of something that's kind of sitting around. We have a lot of stuff like that, but it needs to get listed, otherwise it doesn't sell.
Yeah, so this was Donkey Kong 3 by Nintendo, and it's a handheld game called Micro versus System. And I bought it. It was on the wall in those bags at Value Village. I paid $2.99 for the bag. There was a bunch of other stuff in there that I just
toss it.
I leave it at the
donate
store.
it back.
Like, I don't even want it. But I took it, and I knew it was worth between. I thought at the time it was worth around $50, but I knew that there was some upward value on it, and we just had to see if it would work. And we got those We ordered batteries off Amazon, and we popped them in, and it fired up right away, and boom.
So,
oh wow, that's an old item. Sweet.
Another item we sold was this Ferrari sweatshirt. So the reason I'm bringing up this Ferrari sweatshirt is we bought it, brought it back. It's another one of those examples of not looking at it properly in the store.
I got yelled at again.
I don't think I yelled at you.
You definitely yelled.
Because of where the stain was located. It was like this huge black mark on like a shoulder, I think.
Yeah.
But I tried to get it out in the wash. I put some spray on it and then washed it, and it didn't come out. So I just disclosed it. Someone still bought it for $24.
By the way, when we saw this, we both thought it was like
it was a really
beautiful
nice
sweatshirt. Like Ferrari, Puma, bright red. Like it just looked good. Like you knew
you had to buy it.
You had to, but it was expensive, right? We paid up for it.
Yeah, we paid about $10 for it, which is not cheap. But it was nice.
It really was nice.
So, what we have, the next item was this Tampa Bay Lightning polo. Some guy bought it. We've had this item for, I want to say 3 years. It was listed.
Years, yeah.
And
this is a li-fi.
This is definitely a li-fi.
List it and forget it.
This is another item where you saw this in our warehouse, in our storage area, and you picked it up and you're like, why hasn't this sold? And we always find that a lot of times when we say that, like things kind of sell afterwards. Like whenever you just look at an item, why is this still here? Of course, if you do that for every single item you have, it won't work.
It doesn't. I've tried.
But what's interesting about this item is that after I accepted the person's offer of $25, they sent us a message and said, hey, cancel the order. I thought this was new. So we were a little disappointed to see that, but I wrote back to the guy. I'm like, hey, listen, it's in great shape. I'll give it to you for 20. And he's like, sure, okay. So I don't even know if you knew about that. I don't know if you read those messages.
I didn't read those messages. You told me about it after. But so I am big on contacting customers and trying to upsell them and trying to work with them as best as possible. And I tell you, this is something I talk to you about.
You always tell me, and I'm kind of down on it because I've done it before and I haven't really received a good response. I haven't really received much of a response, to be honest. So I don't like to message people afterwards and try to get them to buy other things, but I know it would work 1 out of 100 times, and that's something.
Right.
So.
And it doesn't take any time and it doesn't take any effort to just send an email and say, hey, I also have this Tampa Bay Lightning whatever shirt.
Right, because you never know. You never know what else people are looking for.
And if they're super fans and they already are paying for shipping or it's already coming to them, what's another thing to throw in? And typically we'll give a really good deal for an additional item, right, that we have in stock.
So I think maybe I want to say Monday morning, within an hour, we sold 2 BMW Polos.
Which we had
listed for a while. Yeah. So it was very strange that within a short period of time, 2 BMW Polos to 2 different people. One was a women's polo, one was a men's, but those ones sold within 2 hours.
What were the prices?
They were around 20 and 15, I think.
So like basically the same.
They were close. Okay, so another item which you picked up from a garage sale.
Estate sale, actually.
Estate sale.
Yeah.
In the summertime. So a lot of times you'll bring stuff from garage sales or estate sales and you give them to me and I'll be like, okay, I'll get around to this.
First you yell at me, then you say I'll get around to it.
Yeah, I usually will do that. Okay. But this item was another one of those ones that you saw lying around and you're like, let's get this listed. So you listed it and I think within a week someone bought it.
It's one of those things where it didn't require, really crazy photos. And
we didn't say what it was.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
It was a Sony... What is it?
The recordable MIDI discs.
Mini discs.
And it was sealed, brand new.
It
even had the price from the Sony store on there of $30.
And we got $28 for it.
We got almost full price of what it would have cost back in whenever it's an older looking sticker with the price on it. So I'm guessing it's a little bit older media, but we got almost full price.
Yeah. So old media sells.
I don't even know how old it is.
Okay. Now we're going to talk about some duds that we sold.
So those were the studs?
Those were studs.
Now we're
going to talk about some duds. So the duds are things that, you bring a lot of things home from the thrift stores that you're like, why did I buy this?
You buy them because you're there and what's the point of not getting it, right? This whole thing is a volume play in my opinion.
It is. I agree with you.
Doesn't stop you from yelling at me though.
I think the thing that bothers me the most is when the inventory just continues to grow, but sales aren't growing at the same rate. And I think everyone has that problem.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to see older items eventually get out of there and clear up space for newer ones. So this was a Nike dry fit shirt. It's a t-shirt. I mean, we're not talking about anything special here. It's just a t-shirt. And the funny thing about these Nike t-shirts, we were in a Nike outlet a few months ago, sorry. And these t-shirts were going for like $15 each.
Yeah.
And they're new.
With
right?
tags, yeah.
Yeah, they're brand new in this. It's a Nike store. Of course it's new.
Of course, it's new with tags.
And people would even have like 30% off coupons in that store. So they could get those shirts for 15 minus 30. And here we have them listed on eBay, used.
$25.
We're putting them for 25, sometimes 30. I mean, it's ridiculous. Anyways, this was an old one. Someone bought it for $20. We're very happy when that happens.
I thought this was a cool shirt when I bought it. It's got like the swoosh and then it says in block letters "Run" above it. Like it looks cool. It's like faded a little bit.
It's a nice shirt. Let's not.
What do we get?
Let's not get too much.
What do we get for it?
We got $20 for it.
Yeah, and what do we pay for it?
We probably paid $5 or less.
$3, $4, $5, something like that.
It's definitely a good ROI.
But you just said it was a dud. That's a win, Johnny.
Okay, our next dud. This was purchased not by us, but by a shopper that we have. We'll talk about that shopper later, but
on another episode.
But she bought this for us at a thrift store, and
do you yell at her?
I don't yell at her. I hope she doesn't listen to this.
I don't think she will.
No one does.
We have 0 listeners.
So anyways, the reason I call this a dud is because when I was taking photographs of this item, I noticed there was a huge tear in the right cuff. So I was like, oh, by the way, it's a Philosophy Republic, which
I've never heard of that.
I'd never heard of it before this either. And
is it an anthropology label?
I don't think it's anthro. I don't really even...
I have a little thing on my phone that tells me anthropology labels.
The Google box, too. So anyways, Philosophy Republic has a hole in it. Someone paid $15 for it. Happy to get rid of it. Okay, our last dud.
Oh my God.
Do you remember?
This
is one of the very first items we had. It's a Cheers t-shirt.
Yeah.
So is Cheers a real
it's a real
pub?
It's a real bar in Boston.
Real bar in Boston. Yeah. And then
there used to be one in Toronto, I think, too. Years ago.
We're from Toronto, in case we didn't mention that. We live in Toronto.
You know, it's I think it was where Rosencrown is in Midtown Toronto. It used to be called Cheers before it was renamed Rosencrown, I think.
Well,
nobody cares.
Nobody cares about that. No. Anyways, this shirt was so old. I want to talk about how old this shirt was.
Yeah, it's one of the first 30 or 50 items we ever bought.
And we sat on it for the longest time. And it's finally sold. We didn't get a lot for it. I think maybe we got $11 for it, but I mean, to get $11 for this shirt that we probably paid $2 for, and it was so long ago, we got rid of it. Very happy. So that's our studs and duds. And we're going to wrap this up with a segment that I've dubbed Just the Tip.
Okay.
That is where we give one really good tip. So what we're hoping is that someone will listen to this. They might be new or they might be old to reselling, and they could always use a new tip. So I found this really good resource online that checks if you have any duplicate listings on eBay, which is amazing because how many times does it happen where you've sold an item and you're looking for it, can't find it, you do a little digging and you find you've already sold it, and you gotta send them a message to a buyer who's going to be disappointed. So this tool will scan your store as is and tell you if you have any duplicate listings. And I will say, when I first scanned our store, I found over 50 duplicate listings, and that would have been a disaster.
That's messed up.
I removed all of them. Disaster averted. You can find this. It's isdnek.com/ebaytools/duplicatelistings.html.
We'll put the
HTM.
We'll put the link in the
link in the description. You can also just go to Google and type in eBay duplicate listing checker. It's going to be the first result. But I highly recommend that everyone use this tool, probably on a weekly basis, because the last thing you want to do is sell something that you've already sold. It's never fun. So that was our first podcast. It's kind of fun to talk about our stuff like this, and hopefully anyone listening out there maybe gets something from it. But I know that I like to listen to a lot of podcasts /videos from other resellers, and I take away quite a bit from them. So hopefully we can now give back.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing this for a while, and hopefully you guys can hear our passion and love for the reseller game and eBay and everything that goes with it. And hopefully we'll, give you, like Jeremy said, give you some good information along the way, some useful tips that hopefully you can use. And we'll try to get one of these podcasts up, I think we said weekly.
Hopefully we can do weekly. Yeah, I think that will be the goal, but we'll
let's stick to weekly.
We'll try weekly.
It's good to have these goals. And do we have any idea what we'll talk about in our next one? Or are we just gonna?
We do have some ideas, but let's keep that to ourselves.
Oh, good. Secrets. I love it. I thought secrets don't make friends.
We're going to talk about it next podcast.
Awesome.
I'm going to have to edit out that word. Maybe I'll leave it in.
Leave it in. Nobody's going to hear it.
That's true. Well, I was telling you that the first podcast or the first video you release, that's the one that so many people watch. That's assuming get a good following later on, because people will scroll down to the bottom
They
and
start from the
and they'll go to that first one, they'll listen to it, and then they won't go to the second one. They'll just, so
they'll go back.
go back to the first just to see what the first is like.
Just to hear you burp on the pod.
I guess so. Well, I am drinking a coffee, and
I'm also
maybe
drinking
burp.
coffee. I'm drinking
What can I
coffee
say?
as well, and I haven't done that.
Well, we're gonna get back to our hockey match, as we like to do in Canada. So,
Hey, it's good to see you.
all right, we're ending this podcast. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much.